With the latest installment in the rebooted Planet of the Apes franchise taking the box office by storm once again, earning critical acclaim across the globe from audiences and critics alike, the debate rages on once again, and that debate involves many of the actors involved in these films, in particular Andy Serkis, who returns to portray the trilogy's protagonist Caesar. It's no secret that the actor and director has been one of the pioneers who has helped this art reach a wide audience, stretching back well over a decade now, from performances like the mysterious Supreme Leader Snoke in Star Wars The Force Awakens, to the unpredictable but adventurous Captain Haddock in Adventures of TinTin Secret of the Unicorn, the powerful but misunderstood King Kong, and arguably his most famous and compelling role, Gollum in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Of course, it would be unfair to just limit the man to only these performances. He has starred in and excelled in many other films when no motion capture suit is required. However, I wanted to specifically talk about the motion capture today, because it seems that with every release of a new Planet of the Apes film, since the series was rebooted back in 2011, the question has always been asked, is this finally the one that will get Andy Serkis that much deserved Oscar nomination? It's no secret that many do think that he does deserve one at this point, but instead of getting a solid answer, it always seems to lead to another question. Can or should an actor be nominated for a motion capture performance?
It is my hope that out of this solemn occasion, a better world will emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past. A world founded upon faith and understanding. A world dedicated to the wish for freedom, tolerance, and justice.
Firstly, a brief explanation on what motion capture is, and how it differs from other forms of animation. Motion capture is the process that involves recording the actions of an individual. Sensors and markers are used to track the actor's movements, which are simultaneously filmed by multiple cameras, which capture and follow the markers, and thus able to generate a starting point for creating a three-dimensional digital character model. But despite now having years to grasp this innovative technology involved with filmmaking, there's still a debate going on whether or not something like this is restrictive to an actor's performance, or does it unfairly enhance it, since we wonder how much of what we see on screen is down to the actor, or the artistry of the special effects team who's worked tirelessly to convince us that what we are seeing on screen is as real as the humans that we occasionally see. It is a fascinating topic, one that I do have my own opinion on, and would like to discuss with you, as well as share points that have been made by others, including Andy Serkis himself. It should be interesting to note that Andy Serkis is already an award-nominated actor. To reference a few, he received a Golden Globe nomination for his role in the 2006 British television drama Longford, and a BAFTA nomination for Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. This shows that he has the skill to give award-contending performances, so why the performances he gives when wearing a Velcro or latex suit dotted with golf balls overlooked by the award show? This is a fight that the motion capture performance have been battling for a while now. In 2011, it was stated by the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers that they didn't consider motion capture acting to be in the same vein as acting without motion capture, believing it to have more in common with background acting, and these terms and conditions means that mocap actors are often paid considerably less. The most common argument used against motion capture is that it's not so much acting, but rather special effects fitting around someone just moving and saying their lines. They think that rather than praise the puppets, the praise should go to the puppeteers, like the talented artists who work at, and are currently working at, digital visual effects companies like Weta Digital, the company who worked and received numerous awards for such films like Lord of the Rings and James Cameron's Avatar, the latter of which prominently featured motion capture actors and performers. Now, there's no doubt that the effects do play a role into this. They do make the impossible possible. If there is a character that cannot be portrayed physically on set, for example the gold-hoarding dragon Smaug, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, then computers will have to be used. But instead of simply trying to work around a blank slate, with motion captures there's already something to work from. An actor, a performer, they are on set rehearsing and carrying out these scenes with the same amount of dedication and commitment that they would do regardless of whether or not they were in a motion capture shoot. It would be unfair and harsh if I were to just brush away the hard work that goes into the special effects for the sake of countering this argument, but I want to make a point in saying you wouldn't discredit a performance from an actor because of the costume or whether the prosthetics that they are currently under. Those would be factors you would elaborate on separately. Under all that CG wizardry, there is an emotional action and reaction. Andy Serkis elaborated himself at this point back on the red carpet premiere for Peter Jackson's King Kong, stating, "You have to understand that motion capture is just another technology for recording an actor's performance. It's not a genre of acting, it's just acting. That's what it is." However, there is a counter-argument to this. How much of the acting we see on screen is authentic? After all, if the shapes and sizes of bodies can be altered, actors can be made to look younger or older than what they really are, what's to stop someone behind the scenes from essentially editing a performance, much like how animators would discuss the emotional reaction of a fully animated character? That is a point that performance capture actor Woody Schultz has touched upon. Schultz has numerous credits to his name, including many video games, as well as performances in James Cameron's Avatar, Adventures of Tintin, Secret of the Unicorn, and Robert Zemeckis' Beowulf. He states, "There's a lot of misinformation in that the public sees this as being like Shrek, when it is really a flesh and blood performance with nuance and emotion." It's once again this confusion many moviegoers seem to have, believing that the added CG layer is what makes the difference. It gets compared a lot to voice acting, though many, myself included, make the argument that voice actors could also be nominated for prestigious awards because of their performances. In fact, there are awards that are solely dedicated to voice acting. Could we see this in the future for motion capture? Or even an extra category that focuses solely on this aspect? After all, the Academy Award has constantly been changing its rules and ideals year after year. This shift in tone could allow for the possibility of more acceptance towards motion capture outside of visual, digital, or audio effects. But the only problem I see with a category that's dedicated purely to motion capture performances is that what will happen if we have a year that doesn't consist of enough worthy performances, and thus won't be able to fill out the nominations required? After all, motion capture is a painstaking and exhausting process that not a lot of filmmakers have the luxury to afford time or money into. Maybe in the far future I could see something like this happening, but for now I don't see there being enough to warrant another category. But here's the thing, right now I'm making a video talking about this. I know that people are going to be watching this and forming their own opinions, and we're not alone. There are more videos, featurettes, articles, petitions, submissions already released or in development having this same discussion. And the fact that we are having this discussion shows that there is something that is being taken seriously. And more I'm hearing from critics, audiences, and especially people working behind the scenes who support the possibility of an actor one day waking up to find their motion capture performance has warranted a nomination at the Oscars. The latter of them is more telling because they know first and foremost that this is acting. It's acting in their purest form, using their skill and imagination to bring these characters to life from almost nothing. Back when Rise of the Planet of the Apes was released, Fox ran a campaign for Andy Serkis to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And if you want to go back even further in time, many critics felt that Serkis could have potentially received Best Supporting Actor nomination for his portrayal of Gollum in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. This is a debate that has been going on for years now, and I think it will go on for many more years to come. Technology is constantly advancing every year, but in the right hands and in capable hands, that can be a good thing. It could help those actors find those roles that they desperately want to perform but couldn't do so before. And that's the key, that in the end of the day, these actors are given performances, and I personally believe that one day, yes, an actor will receive an Oscar nomination for a motion capture performance.